I hear that.
Welcome to Beerfield Fantasy Football. I am your host at Hot BFF with two P's, as always, joined by Nick Spartz. Wait, no, that's not how this works. Nick?
That's not right.
No, that's not right. But I'm happy you're here.
It should be right,
It
though.
should.
Am I right?
Well,
No.
we'll see. Depends
We'll
on how
see.
well Hangouts wants to cooperate with me. For those that have been on YouTube, by the way, I apologize for the crappy audio quality. Turns out I had two mic inputs on there, and I didn't realize it was coming through all shadow boxy and overlaid. So that should be fixed, at least. We are almost 5 years in, and still haven't figured out how to do a podcast yet. 326 episodes.
It's overrated.
What?
It's not like it's more on brand for us to like always fuck up, or like have a fuck up, or not realize that there's a fuck up for 3 episodes. Like that's pretty much Beerfield in a nutshell.
Yeah, that had to have been going on for a bit. But hey, there's a reason Nick's here, and it's not just because we missed him. It's 2018 look back, so we've been running back through last 3 years of draft classes. Typically go through 3 years because that's about when you know for most prospects as far as what you're going to get. Part 3 of a 4-part series as we look back, but 2018 class was the last class Nick analyzed as a full-time analyst. And by full-time, I mean not, doing it in all of his spare time. So we're going to look back on that, have some laughs. We'll look back at, talk a little bit about the AFC Championship game storylines, or AFC NFC Championship game storylines, which have already been beaten to death. Some coaching changes coming up. But before we do that, I'm assuming we're all drinking. So becomes, what are we drinking? Oh, Beerfield FF on Twitter.
What's fueling Beerfield?
Beerfield Fantasy Football on YouTube. Yeah, like, subscribe. Dan, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Black Plague Brewing 20 Ox Birdhouse IPA. This comes all the way from Oceanside, California. Friend of ours, Mr. Geoff Keller, brought me a can of this back when he went to Cali a couple weeks ago. So saving it for the show.
Oh, Geoff. Did you do a 900 when you drank it? Do you have mad skateboarding skills now?
I thought about it. I may do a 900 on the show. I'm not making promises, but it may happen.
Okay. Nick, you drinking anything?
I am. I've got Triptych on. I've grabbed their Red
attaboy.
X, which is a red style Imperial IPA with West Coast hops.
Actually, you know what? I've got 3 of those upstairs. I could just do that with you.
You should have said something. I would have. I got mine a while ago.
We could have really done this old school. Do you have one too?
No, I drank through mine already.
Yeah, I've still got 3 of them in the fridge. I may go up and grab one later just so I can do a note comparison with Nick. I've got 3 Floyd's Molten Mirrors. That's what it is. So it's a heater. It's a frickin' sour. It's a sour peach saison. I'm not gonna try to pronounce complicated words. So sour peach saison.
That's Dan jobs to do that.
Yeah, Molten Mirrors from three Floyds. Yeah, I don't know. I can't read a beer label today. They use like weird font and stuff that doesn't really pop out from the rest of their artwork. So I promise I'm not just losing my damn mind. Nice. All right, championship weekend, real quick. Packers Bucks. Want to talk about that for a minute. Couple big storylines out of that game. Way more controversy there than there was in Chiefs Bills. And the 2 big storylines out of that game that I don't think we've chimed in yet on are the way that game was called by the referees the entire game up until seemingly the last pass interference play, which, by the way, I think they had to call. And then I think a lot more was made out of Matt LaFleur's decision to kick the field goal instead of go for the touchdown on 4th and goal from the 8 than what should have been. So I guess first off, let's start with the reffing, because that's always got to be a controversy in some playoffs. Do you have a problem with that last call? Do you have a problem with the fact that they're pretty lax on pass interference calls for the entire game and defensive holding?
Them being lax is the mistake. Like, they need to call it by the rules the entire game, because it was a pass interference, or probably a hold is probably the better call than a pass interference call for what they did. But overall, they should have called that, but they should have been calling everything else earlier in the game too.
Right. There was one, I think, specifically on Adams that killed the Packers' drive, where it was a clear, also probably a hold, because it's real hard to tell watching from home if the ball's in the air or not. Or they had him by the shoulder pads. And, that wasn't called. Dan, your thoughts?
So I was at work, so I missed a lot of this game. I've seen some of the highlights. I've seen the still highlight of the one that gets talked about the most, the grabbing of the jersey. The calls are going to get missed all game. It's just the nature of it. This is why it's one of the human elements, a part of the game. But I mean, you got to call it. It's got to be consistent. Like, everything's got to be consistent. Like, you can't say that I won't make a call in the first quarter that I'm now going to make in the fourth quarter.
And
you got to be consistent.
And that's kind of what
they didn't have
a
single flag in the first half.
Yeah, there wasn't a flag in the first half. There was 3 or 4 that were looked at and could have been blatant, and it was pretty much, they're just letting the guys play. There was arm hooking from both sides. There was grabbing at the shoulder pads, and they were letting them play until that last play. And I agree, that was a penalty. It should have been called, but there were equally as egregious penalties that should have been called.
It looked painfully obvious. I think that's where it's what I've read and saw from a lot of people it was a penalty that they could have just let go if it wasn't so obvious. I'm going off of what
dragging the jersey way back is like, even in a game where they're not calling it, they're calling
they
it.
That's like hooking the defensive player and then dragging him down right in front of the ref. Like, you're gonna get called for holding there. It's just that's how it goes.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't that it was the wrong call. It was just that it was kind of inconsistent with what they've done the rest of the game, and you can't do that. I'm all for let them play, but if you're gonna let them play, let them play.
Yep.
I'm not, because then you start seeing shit get off the rails, and then this is almost always what happens.
Yeah. I'm all for consistency. Just be consistent with your play. Like, there's going to be some groups of refs that are not going to make certain calls, and some groups are. It's just, again, that's just how it's gone. So
I also think that if you're going to be lax on holding, you should do it at the line, not, on the receiver cornerback matchups.
Yes.
I'm all for let's not have 90 holding calls at a game on the offensive line.
Please don't.
Yeah.
And that's just the first quarter.
So
there's a hold in almost every play.
So the other part of that, and Aaron Rodgers kind of covered this on Pat McAfee's show, is the decision to kick the field goal instead of go for the touchdown. And to me, the internet likes to be the internet and make a big deal out of whatever they can make a big deal out of. To me, that's one of those, as Rodgers put it, damned if you do, damned if you don't type plays. Because if you go for it and you don't get any points on that drive, then you've got them pinned, but you've got to get the ball back twice. It's still a 2-possession game. You're an idiot for going for it. If you pick it up the touchdown, then what a ballsy play, what a great call. It's all outcome-based analysis with the idea of hindsight. Or you kick the field goal, take the points with the idea that your defense, which has been playing pretty good too, Brady's picked off 3 times, he
had a terrible second half.
Yeah, that your defense is going to make a stop, and then you have a chance to drive down the field. But it went back to Tom Brady, and they never got the ball back. And again, it's hindsight's 20/20. I don't have a problem with kicking the field goal there. I think that It's all outcome-based analysis. You could argue it both ways, but at the end of the day, you still need at least a field goal and a touchdown, and you've got to get them in some order. So why not take the points there, the sure points there, and then worry about getting the other thing?
I think going for the touchdown and the tie with the 2-point conversion was the correct call, but it's not as egregious as the internet made it seem. That's where I'm on it. I would have gone for the touchdown.
Yeah, it's outcome-based.
Yeah.
And then even if you don't get it, you've pinned them deeper than you will kicking the ball off after kicking the field goal. You put your defense in a slightly better position. So yeah, I'm still on team. They should have gone for it, but yeah, the internet was raking him over the coals far more than was justified.
I mean, you go for it there. It's the playoffs. Obviously, you need 2 scores to win that game, but you need 1 score to tie it. And if that tie happens, it changes the outcome of everything. It changes how the Bucs have to approach their next drive because they're not winning anymore. They can't just try to go for the first down, run out the clock, and win the game like they did. They actually have to go down there, drive down there, and score. A lot more could happen. Sacks, turnovers. There's a lot more. It's probably not as bad as the internet made it sound, but it's also internet. Fucking Twitter is going to do
what Twitter does.
It's going to fucking slam the hammer down on it.
Especially with the benefit of hindsight. And
exactly.
Also, at that point, it becomes something we see a lot, and we critique this 5 to 7 times a season. Do you play to tie or do you play to win? If you're you got to tie before you can win in that scenario. I agree with that take, yes. But it seems to me like he took the play to win in the long game instead of tie, let's play for a tie, let's kick it to overtime, and then potentially lose on a coin flip, more or less.
So with that, you're 9 yards away from scoring a touchdown, which you need. No matter what, you need a touchdown to win that game. Either you're down 5, you get it back. You then have to drive all the way back down and then score again against a defense that's been playing, pretty well. I watched most of that game. Or not most of it. I unfortunately only saw highlights of this one, but you already drove down there. You're just not. I know that you're 9 yards away on one play left to try to score this touchdown, but it's a lot harder to score down, or it's a lot harder to drive down, 90 yards or whatever, how far, they'll have to go the second time, plus hold them. I think they got too cute by trying to kick the field goal there. If they were at Tampa Bay's 25-30 and it's, 4th down and 9, that's a different story. Then it becomes a little more, then it starts to make a little more sense. But you're in fucking Rodgers, you have Devontae Adams, and why not? This is the last play of your fucking season.
Wow.
Potentially, why not go for what should have been? I think, to me, an easy call. I think he got scared. I think LaFleur got nervous in this situation, and he probably regrets the call.
Yeah, and even if you look at the analytics, the right call was to go for it. It was close. They were within a couple percentage points of each other in terms of win odds, but
yeah,
the right call was still go for it.
Yeah. Well, and again, hindsight's 20/20. You can key in on that one play, but they also had 3 Brady interceptions, and I think they turned one of those into points.
Oh yeah, they had.
There were plenty of other points where they could have flipped that game on its head, and they didn't.
Not giving up a 40-yard touchdown with 5 seconds left in the half or whatever it was.
Oh my God, Kevin King! What a horrible game for him. He got fucking roasted.
Yes, he did. Anything with Chiefs Bills that you guys want to talk about? I don't recall there being anything super significant there that needed to be discussed. It got chippy in the end. Chiefs defense, especially the secondary, kind of played out of their mind.
Mahomes on turf toe is still better than 95% of the quarterbacks in this league. It's he played unbelievable with the turf toe injury.
Yeah, and he gets 2 weeks to rest that up, so he'll probably be close to 100% for the Super Bowl. I saw the ELO odds had it as a 53-47 split towards the Chiefs, and I'm like, it's bigger than that in reality.
I think
betting wise, it was like, to me, I felt like this weekend was pretty chalk. Obviously, everyone wanted the Bills to win because it's the Bills. We just saw the Chiefs win last year. Josh Allen's a great story, and the Bills have been fun to watch this year. It was fun.
And you had the benefit of having 4 teams in those games that have just been ultimately fun to watch this year. It wasn't, like
True.
somebody winning ugly got in there or anything like that. I mean, you had 4 teams that were fun to watch. The AFC side, you had a bunch of quarterbacks in there that are going to be there for years to come.
Yep. 3 of them from this draft class.
Yeah. All right. I'll do a drop this time. Sometimes we do this. Sometimes we don't.
I teed you up for a transition. I figured you would have gone.
News.
All right, some things to run through, some stuff we'll talk about, some stuff we won't spend a whole lot of time on. Ron Rivera, cancer-free after 5 months, so congratulations to him. Coach most of the season while undergoing that, so cheers to beating cancer.
I'm a little surprised that is the first note because I don't see what I expected to be the top note on here.
What did you expect to be the top note?
Watson officially requesting a trade.
Yeah, we've talked about Watson wanting a trade. I mean, because he formalized it, we've talked about Watson wanting a trade the last 2 weeks. So, and where and landing spots, there's nothing else to expand on there. He still wants out, and the landing spots are still the same. What are your thoughts on that, though? Because you haven't been here to talk about it. Dan and I have beaten it to death. Let's give you some airtime.
I mean, I'm intrigued, but that organization has obviously been run like a dumpster fire, and I wouldn't be surprised if Watt also ends up out of there this offseason as they kind of blow this whole thing up. I've generally thought most of their moves have been pretty uninspired lately, so I think he's honestly right to force himself out because I don't see him winning there long term.
Trade partners, where do you want to see him go? What's intriguing to you?
I mean, I think 49ers with Shanahan would be the most fun from a fit standpoint, but I think realistically, Broncos maybe.
That would be less fun.
It would be less. Sutton and Judy would be fun, but I don't think the organization is as well run or coached from an offensive standpoint.
I mean, plus they have a future superstar in the waiting.
Oh my God!
I'm not sure they agree with you on that. Is the problem?
I don't think they do either. Cole Beasley, 3 playoff games on a broken fibula, so badass.
Fucking beast, man.
Cheers to
Love
being
that.
Dude is a tough motherfucker. And
cheers to being a badass with a man bun that dropped 2 rap singles now.
That's right.
All right, on to actual things we got to talk about. John Wolford, hotness out of the Rams. It's come out this week that they fully expect a Goff versus Wolford open quarterback competition. Now, we'll talk about this again at training camp time. And that Sean McVay really likes Wolford's mobility, his ability to change his launch point, extend plays, and seems to be yearning for a more mobile quarterback than Jared Goff. So, dynasty talk. Is Wolford somebody that you maybe target in Superflex? Is he somebody that you sell as this hype builds over the offseason? Jared Goff, value in the tank. I guess break it down a little bit.
It's not pretty. Wolford, he's gonna, like, he should be picked up and rostered in all Superflex leagues. Buyout, don't fucking trade for him though. Like, not only does he have to beat Jared Goff, he has to be somewhat successful when he takes over. Yes, this is a fun offense when they're all healthy and gelling, but it's not like Wolford he's played one game, started one game. He hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. And he ran well, but on just a one game per, like, any quarterback can put up some rushing production. So as for Jared Goff, it's you're not going to sell him. You got to wait and see. He has a whole offseason to kind of right the ship, but kind of, prove why he should be the starter. But what this could mean is that the Rams are in the market for a quarterback after this season, effectively.
what's their out on Goff? Because this is more of a Goff thing than a Watford thing to me.
I'll look it up. Nick, you want to give your thoughts, or Hopper, you guys can give yours. I'll take a look here.
So, yeah, it is a Goff indictment, as Nick said. Out is after this upcoming season, by the way.
Okay.
8.6 million in dead cap to save a boatload.
And they're up against it, aren't they?
Yeah,
yes,
they are horribly under the cap for 21.
Yeah, they cut him this year. It's 30 million in dead cap, basically. So they're not cutting him this year. I don't think. They're going to.
They're minus 27.
Yeah, I don't think
they're 27 over the cap right now.
They're going to eat 30 million, but he's likely will be cut after 2022. It's kind of like a less bad Carson Wentz situation, I guess. It does say a lot about Goff, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's somebody else in addition to the two that we're talking about right now in the mix in this whole fiasco before training camp's over. I think they do want a mobile quarterback. They could spend a day 2 pick to try to get a guy to bring in.
Do they even have a day 2 pick? They trade all their picks away. That's the issue that they've done here is they've traded so many picks away that like trying to recapture any rookies they made it impossible.
Have both of their day. No, wait, that's projected 2021 draft picks. Yeah, so they have
that is 2021.
Yeah, so they have 3. They have a second, a third, 2 third-round compensatory picks, a 4th round, and a 4th round comp. So they actually do have draft picks in that range.
Okay, so they could go after like the QB7 or QB8 in this class at the end of the third, maybe.
Yeah, bring in somebody that's maybe got
Jamie
some
Newman.
upside, and like a Jamie Newman that's got some upside and some development potential.
He's mobile.
Yeah. And see what you can get out of them. If they like Wolford, cool. I don't know that Wolford showed enough in his starts. He definitely did give a better wrinkle than what Jared Goff did. And I think it's one of those things to where Wolford's going to be much better on the run, much better rolling out, much better in play action. But Goff is going to be the better pocket passer if you can keep him clean. Not a guarantee.
I can't believe this is even a fucking rumor, but all right. I mean, if Wolford beats him out, then it's going to be obviously worth. Goff's pretty much done as a Ram, but like I said, if you have Wolford on your roster, I would try to flip him. I'd pick him up, try to trade him for a 4th round pick. Like
honestly, if Goff's done in LA, with that offensive scheme, he's done.
Yeah.
He'll be a journeyman somewhere. Like I don't think he's done, but he's got some backup.
He's done as a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, the freaking Bears are gonna do a Nick Foles and trade their first rounder for Jared Goff and let the freaking Rams draft a quarterback and then get out on Goff after one season after burning a 1st round pick because Ryan Pace is a dolt.
It's gonna be trying to save their jobs. All right, guys, we're running on Jared Goff. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. Speaking of things that don't make sense, the Texans hired David Coley as head coach. He's the former wide receivers and passing game coordinator from the Ravens. Because when you think about the Ravens for the last couple of years, you think about how awesome their passing game's been and how great the wide receivers were.
I wonder if they're gonna if this will tip their cap on if they do trade away Watson, if who they might target. Because realistically, he's going for the 2nd or 3rd pick. So, either Jets or Dolphins. So I'm wondering if this hire is going to tip their hand on what type of quarterback they'll bring in.
Well, hopefully one that doesn't have to throw the football because
Trey Lance, you go into Houston.
Yeah.
Trey Lance is kind of the only one that fits that.
Oh, you also have Justin Fields. He's also very, very mobile.
Yeah,
he's not as big as Lance.
He's not Jackson mobile though.
Yeah. No, but he's a bigger Kyler. He's 6'3", 221. Like he's built.
At least this gives me faith in the Texans developing wide receivers after Will Fuller walks. Or damn,
Galladay, Jones.
See, to me, this reads more like a culture hire. Like they're trying to cut some of that Ravens mindset into their organization. I don't know. if I like it as a move, but that seems to be how I read it because I don't see any other reason why you'd go this way.
I think this is like their fifth read. I think that people are like, nah, I don't want, nah, fam, I'm good where I'm at. I don't want anything to do with this franchise. And this guy, he's been coaching for 27 years, like, oh, a promotion? Okay, yeah, I'll get it. I don't think he's never called plays, so he's never been a coordinator. He's just been an assistant.
Oof.
And yeah, I mean, it could be a not Dan Arnold, the dude that Jason Arnold. Is that his name? Who did the Dolphins hire?
Wait, when?
Not the Dolphins. Damn. He was the interim coach for the Dolphins. Who did the Lions just hire as their head coach?
Campbell.
Dan Campbell. That's it. Dan. I thought Dan Arnold because you.
Sorry.
But yeah, it could be a culture hire. It could also be we need a damn scapegoat while we try to make people forget that we're a shitbag of a franchise.
Honestly, any Texans fans here, once they trade away Watson and they get rid of Watt, if you want to bail, go ahead. This is going to be a shit show for a while.
It's going to be rough.
And their division looks like it might be freaking stacked.
Yeah, I think it's. Yep. Okay. Good breakdown. Chargers hired Broncos defensive backs coach Ronaldo Hill as defensive coordinator. And while the Broncos defensive backs coach is a good hire, this is interesting to me because of the trend that we've seen in defensive coordinators. They now join the Bears, the Lions, and the Eagles, picking off secondary position coaches, as in safeties coaches and cornerbacks coaches. Is the league, I think, tries to adjust more to how do we defend these high-volume passing offenses.
I mean, it makes sense that you'd either want to be going after defensive backs or pass rushing coordinator type roles for modern defenses, but yeah, it seems like that's where they seem to see the league going and where they expect to find the best talent to fit that situation.
Yep, just a strong pass rush and a couple outside corners that can, isolate their guy. Single eye safety.
And specifically how to scheme your defense in a way to cover it and try to limit what they can do.
Yeah. Good hire by them, I think. Broncos defensive backs dealt with a lot of injuries last year and still managed to not be just totally and completely exposed. So I got to think the guy's a decent coach, and he lands with some talent there in L.A. So,
and he was under Fangio, which known good defensive mind. So
exactly. Seattle hired Shane Waldron to be their new offensive coordinator, who is the Rams passing game coordinator. So, a lot of balance to the Rams offense, and really, it's not as bad because when you think about Jared Goff's limitations and what Waldron did as far as making 2 to 3 wide receivers fantasy relevant, as far as making Jared Goff look like he could be a franchise quarterback. Yes, Sean McVay has something to do with that too, so it's hard to see what that split was, but it's really not. When you think about the mediocrity of the Rams passing offense, I mean, I think he was probably overachieving.
Yeah, it's a question of responsibilities, though. How much was Waldron
versus
responsible
McVay
for what was going on there, and how much of it is McVay? I mean, we've seen this with so many of McVay's people getting hired out and then kind of being meh so far. And also, can Seattle get out of their own goddamn way?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, and, DK Metcalf had a quote come out this week, too, that was, well, they figured out our scheme. Yeah, no shit, they figured out your scheme. So they do have to get out of their way. If there's one thing we can say about Waldron, though, it is definitely that he's going to have all the tools he needs in Seattle to get it done on the offensive side of the football.
For sure.
49ers signed Jeff Wilson to a 1-year deal. That's notable because Mostert is the only other running back under contract. McKinnon and Coleman were both going to be UFAs, and Jeff Wilson's looked good in his showing, so he figures to be on a higher rung of that rotation next year, which gives him some flex value. So if you've got him, right.
I can't wait for him to play 6 games. In one of those games, he scores 4 touchdowns.
Somebody's going to land there, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody will. But
Easily.
they'll rotate
It's going to be Aaron
backs,
Jones just to
and
piss everybody off.
2 of them will get hurt, and then Jeff Wilson will be relevant. That's why I keep him on a roster.
It's going to be Aaron Jones, and he'll find a way to lose touches. So, like, to Tevin Coleman.
Aaron Jones feels like a Jets move.
That does feel like a Jets move.
Yeah. I mean, they just overpaid Le'Veon Bell, 2 years ago. So, makes sense.
Lions and Matt Stafford mutually agreed to part ways. Lions going to find a trade partner. Lions, I like what they're doing here, honestly. And they're committing to a rebuild, much like the Dolphins did. They brought in Dan Campbell, which is, we looked at him. We said, yes, this is a character hire. We'll get to it here a little bit later, or I'll just get to it now. They brought in John Dorsey to just handle football operations, not the coaching hires he flubbed in Cleveland. But, Dorsey responsible for Mayfield, Chubb, Denzel Ward, the Landry trade, to oversee personnel. And I really like the infrastructure they put into place to try to rebuild this team.
It sucks for Hawkinson and Swift owners in Dynasty, but overall I like the direction they're taking, and realizing like this bullshit, like desperate try to reach 8-8 every year at best isn't working.
And I actually like this move for Swift and Hawk because they fit the billing of what these younger teams will want to do when you bring in a new quarterback and a whole new scheme.
Anthony
Hawkins can kind of get misused. Like, he has high snaps, but he doesn't run a lot of routes.
And you bring a guy who's.
I was more meaning on there's probably going to be some significant growing pains here for the next
You got to see what's going to happen at quarterback, I think is rule number one, because you're getting out of Stafford. So what are you going to do there?
I don't see how you immediately upgrade that like in year one.
You
may have a guy who grows into it, but
you don't. You're going to have to get somebody that grows into it. It may be a landing spot for those journeyman type quarterbacks that we talk about all the time that get a 1 or 2 year deal to come in and basically start and give some tutelage to the guy beneath them. They brought in Anthony Lynn, so I do like that a little bit for Hawkinson and Swift when you factor Eckler and Henry and what that was in Los Angeles. They brought in Deuce Staley to do the running game, which is, again, a good thing for Swift.
As long as Tyrod doesn't sign and get with another collapsed lung.
So if Tyrod signs, get whoever they draft.
Get
whoever they draft.
I mean, when they got picked 7, it's still a good quarterback range.
It is.
There's, 4 quarterbacks that I feel, 5 that I feel could be. I want to say, 5 ones that fit this landing spot. I do not want to see Mac Jones land here, but you can get some of these high, developmental pieces like a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance to land here.
I'd love Zach Wilson there. Well, not as a Bears fan, but
as a general football fan.
As a general football fan, Wilson would be fun. I like Zach Wilson.
You're gonna make me argue against him for someone who also likes him.
Yep, I will. That's how it's gonna go because you know me. I'm gonna send him to the moon. Like he's AMC. I'm going to send him to the moon like he's GameStop stock.
So, thank you for being my distraction from all that bullshit, too.
My God, what the fuck?
So we talked about the John Dorsey hire, Anthony Lynn hire, Deuce Staley. Moving on. A couple of retirements coming out. Jason Witten's retiring again. Also, Greg Olson, Vance McDonald, Gary Kubiak again, and Phillip Rivers. So, couple of those not insignificant. Witten, whatever. Olsen, there. I mean,
it was time. He was not the same dude anymore.
Yeah, he was there. That's really good news for Disley and Dynasty, who has shown flashes of being close to great.
If he can stay healthy.
Vance McDonald, I mean, Pittsburgh's just kind of been a rotating cast of meh at the tight end position. Kubiak figures Clint Kubiak, I think, is in the favorite to take over for that, so that doesn't swing things a whole heck of a lot necessarily. And then Rivers, which is going to open up a huge conversation about the Colts. And with some of these quarterbacks on the market, like a Matthew Stafford, for example, that makes sense for a team that's in a win now window. Carson Wentz has been rumored a couple of times to be a trade partner. It almost seems like the writing on the walls for the Colts to go get somebody. But also Jacob Eason's a guy that we are relatively high on, is a developmental prospect that after a year or two of seasoning had the tools to be able to start.
$92.8 million in cap space. The Colts can do whatever the fuck they want.
Mm-hmm. They're going to
spot. I think they will. I think they'll go out there and
they're going to sign
if they can find the guy. It's the only issue for them.
There's a team that's going to trade for Wentz. It's going to be the Colts.
No, they're going to sign Mitch Trubisky and bring him in to compete with Jacob Eason.
Or even Stafford, because they can say,
I still
contract.
Yeah.
No money. We'll give up the picks. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Or they'll be smart and they'll still draft a quarterback.
And honestly, if you're Chris Ballard for the Colts, are you trading for Stafford or are you trading for Wentz? I know which one I'd want, especially with Brissett there as a backup.
Who's going to cost you less?
Yeah,
Stafford still is going to cost you less.
And I think Stafford
8 years older than Wentz.
Stafford's got the longer track record of.
I bet Stafford goes for more.
He's got a longer track record.
Contract. It's going to be tough to move Wentz. It'll have to be like.
Hold on. Are you guys using cost the same? Are you talking money or are you talking? You're talking draft picks. Dan's talking money.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the difference there. You guys aren't using cost in the same way.
Damn English language.
I agree with both of you, by the way. I think that Stafford costs more in terms of picks, and Wentz definitely costs more in terms of money. If I'm the Colts and I'm in a win now window, though, I want Stafford because he's got a proven track record of consistency.
And you have great playmakers, a fantastic offensive line, and a running back that, that it's kind of that they'll kind of build around with. That's why, I wouldn't be shocked if they opted not to bring in a veteran guy and still draft a quarterback and have that competition with Eason, or bring in somebody lesser and create that competition.
Like Mitch Trubisky?
And then take the rest of that competition, back it up to the number one free agent wide receiver this year.
Galladay? Juju?
Godwin? Yeah, that's a good free agent class.
Good class.
It's I know. I'm saying back it up for whoever your number one dude is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever's going to fit that mold.
Well, and they already have a kind of guy that flashed as the potential to be a number one in the wings, and Michael Pittman. So...
And Campbell was fine, pretty good before he got hurt too. So you have some young guys.
And T.Y.'s...
You want an alpha to pair with those.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson, that's who I want to see land.
That'd be great.
No, he said an alpha, not somebody that can't beat good cornerbacks.
Oh, that's because Chicago fucking wasted them. It's okay.
No, that's because Allen Robinson's got weak-ass little hands and can't beat coverage.
Man, you slandered one of my favorite receivers in the league.
My issue with Allen Robinson is the Bears fans thought he was the greatest freaking thing since sliced bread, and he's not DeAndre Hopkins. That's basically my argument against Allen Robinson.
I think he's a lot of fun. Him and Keenan Allen are my two favorites.
They're very consistent. I'll give it that. Some guys expected to hit free agency and not be re-signed. Jared Cook, Malcolm Brown, Josh Reynolds, Gerald Everett. I put Jared Everett. That's not right. It's Gerald Everett. Insignificant there. Malcolm Brown, Josh Reynolds makes things mildly less annoying if you're a Rams fan. Chargers hired former Saints quarterback coach Joe Lombardi to the offensive coordinator role. I think that's a great hire to keep Herbert trending in the right direction.
He's kind of a guy I'm surprised hasn't been an OC before now.
Yeah, no, I am too, because he did great things as Matt Stafford's QB coach, and the Saints have a track record of consistency, and I think that it's going to be a good thing for Herbert.
Yeah, won games with Teddy Bridgewater, which the Panthers showed you is not necessarily the easiest thing to do.
Nope. Excuse me.
Also different teams around Teddy there too.
Yeah.
Yes, but the point is, it wasn't just Teddy taking him.
No, I don't.
Eagles hired former Colts offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni as head coach. He's going to bring passing game coordinator to be his offensive coordinator, who is a name I didn't write down, and former defensive backs coach to be his defensive coordinator, whose name I also didn't write down for whatever reason. So I wrote down the positions, not the names. Nick Sirianni,
So-
underrated job.
Yeah, second half of the year, the offense looked great, and that's honestly earlier to the retirements. I'm a little surprised Rivers retired because I thought he still had it based on that second half of 2020. But yeah, good for him on getting hired, and hopefully it works out for the Eagles. But they're in a rough spot right now.
Yeah. Colts were an offense that was better than the sum of its parts, in my opinion. Jonathan Taylor, notwithstanding, because he came on, he's fantastic and came on in the second half, but everybody else, it was a team that we looked at every week and we're like, there's nothing you really want to start here fantasy-wise, but they're going to put up 35 points. So
Yeah, and
somehow, some way, 90 Hines and fucking Mo Alley Cox and Jack the Whale and
it was which random person is going to score 2 or 3 touchdowns this week.
Yep, pretty much.
And somehow Rivers still wouldn't throw them all. It would just be weird shit happening.
Yep. And another defensive backs coach into a defensive coordinator role.
Yep.
49ers named D'Amico Ryans as their next defensive coordinator. That makes anybody feel old when you start seeing players you watch become coordinators and coaches in the league.
Yep.
It's an internal hire. Bears hired Sean Desai to be their defensive coordinator. He was their safeties coach. He's been with the team since 2013, so he's a big Fangio underling. They actually denied Fangio taking him to Denver when he left, I think with this in mind. So he'll take over as defensive coordinator there and hopefully undo some of the weirdness Pagano had going on, like let's cover Michael Thomas with the linebacker, for example.
How did Pagano even get that job? That's what blows my mind.
Long track record in the league, solid defense, and I guess I don't know, man. Pagano's somebody I never wanted to hate because of, the Chuck Strong and the feel-good story that we got, and I think it was 2017. But I ended up being pretty frustrated with him by the end of his Bears tenure.
I mean, even watching him as a third party in his Colts tenure, by the end of it, he'd managed to wear getting over cancer into getting run out of town within like 2 seasons. So it was real bad.
Yeah, it turns out Bruce Arians is just a good coach. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Oh, well. Washington football team hired Martin Mayu and Marty Herney in their front office. So they're both reporting to Ron Rivera, but a couple good minds around him. Herney was overlapped with Rivera in Carolina. Colts promoted quarterbacks coach Marcus Brady to offensive coordinator, so internal hire. Darrell Bevell, Jacksonville's OC.
Josh Robinson about to have 300 carries.
Hate it.
Yeah, but what's James Robinson going to do?
James Robinson. Whatever.
You're thinking of the old Vikings cornerback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they decide to reach on a running back in day 2 and everyone's like, oh, James Robinson's now dead. Nope.
Josh Robinson's actually going to come back and get 300 carries because that's how much they're going to run the damn football.
Yeah, they got 1,000 carries to split up here.
That's right. 1,200. Let's figure it out.
Falcons hired Bears passing game coordinator Dave Ragone as OC. Okay. Arthur Smith will call plays, so they're safe there. Former Titans defensive coordinator. This is more exciting. Dean Pease out of retirement. Former Ravens and Titans defensive coordinator who still has it at the age of 71, at least the last time we saw him in the league, to make a defense do some good things, and the Falcons desperately need that.
Yeah, their defense has been a bit of an issue for a while, though. After they fired their coach mid-season, their defense did get better.
Yeah, they got better under Morris, which is funny because Dan Quinn's supposed to be, your defense is supposed to be his calling card, and that was not the case.
Quinn was, I have no idea how he lasted as long as he did. He was so fucking terrible.
I don't know, Hugh Jackson syndrome?
Steelers I don't know, Mike Zimmer syndrome? I don't know.
Steelers signed Dwayne Haskins to a futures contract.
God. If they somehow managed to sign a worse quarterback than Mason Rudolph. Nice job.
Well, if there's one thing
Nice
the
job.
Steelers do, they're good at cornering the market on personality issues.
At the quarterback position.
I mean, somehow Dwayne Haskins is going to turn into an All-Pro for 3 years before flaming out of the league because he fights a stripper. I don't know. This is going to be crazy.
I'm here.
I mean, I'm kind of happy because I also hate Pittsburgh. So I'm like, yeah, I get to watch the fucking world burn around them. It's going to be great.
Well, it is going to be good because right now your future's behind Roethlisberger, who's going to be run out of town if he doesn't restructure his deal. Or it sounds like he's going to restructure his deal. You're going to have a Dwayne Haskins, Mason Rudolph quarterback competition. Devlin Hodges got signed elsewhere.
Josh Dobbs.
Oh, yeah, Josh Dobbs. Forgot about Spaceman.
Matt Hicks is his favorite quarterback of all time. Don't vet me on that. It's totally true.
It was true, actually. He was high on Josh Dobbs. Or just high. I'm not sure which.
We had no idea what we were talking about in 2017, and we realized Josh Dobbs was shit.
Really good at kicking the football. Probably a better kicker than the passer.
Yeah. We might have talked about this last week. I don't know. Jets hired 49ers passing game coordinator, Mike LaFleur is offensive coordinator, and Jeff Ulbrich, who is DC. I did a real bad job on these notes. I don't remember who the hell Jeff Ulbrich is. I think he also brought him over from the 49ers.
We talked about the Mike LaFleur one, but not Jeff Ulbrich.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
Jaguars hired Ravens defensive line coach Joe Colin as defensive coordinator. So
Fine.
They've done a hell of their
It's
job
okay.
on their front seven, so it's a good hire.
I like it more than Bevel.
I do
Because at
too.
least there might be some
It,
upside.
it makes sense. They're gonna be a ground and pound and get to the quarterback on defense.
Yeah, you're gonna have the best quarterback prospect since Luck, and we're gonna ground and pound it.
All right, Trevor, you're throwing the ball 400 times this year.
I didn't
Not
even.
a single one more.
Yep.
He's on a pass count.
James and Josh Robinson are leading the way. The JJ brothers.
Jones Drew's coming out of retirement to get him some of that.
They're bringing back the butts.
Where's Fred
And
Taylor?
Fred Taylor.
Yeah.
Fred
Where's
Taylor
Fred
coming.
Taylor?
That'd be great. I have a bunch of his rookie cards that I need to sell.
All right, draft class. Here we go.
That was the longest news segment ever.
No, it
No,
wasn't.
it
That was
wasn't.
last week.
No,
dude.
Last week's was a page
Last
and a
week was
freaking half
rough.
of hires. Yeah. So should we hold on, production meeting. Should we actually do a beer review, segment beer review since there's three of us, or should we just
Let's
try
do
to
it right
slide 'em
now. Let's do it right now because I'm almost done with my beer and I need to figure out a way to do it. So let's do it
I'm
now.
getting low, and I may have to tag out for a second.
It's been a long time for the drop.
in? Yeah, I'm also getting low. I may have to tag out here in a second. So here's what we're gonna do. Nick, go ahead and start with what you think, and then we'll let you run out and get another beer.
So we're gonna relay race this.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
gonna go. You're gonna give your
We're gonna
review,
four horsemen
and
this
then
Nick.
go, and then I'm gonna kick it to Dan, and then I'm gonna go.
As long as you don't have to sap it, because that was. ugh.
Yeah.
Nerd talk.
All right, I had Red X from Trip Tech. Freaking fantastic, honestly. I love red ales just in general, so seeing an Imperial IPA red was something that immediately made me want to jump on it. You two apparently agreed with me because you both grabbed it too.
Well, I'm about
great
to. I
taste.
haven't yet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this year's version of it.
Oh, I didn't realize it was a re-release.
They did, so they switched between Red X and Galloping Ghost, which is one of my favorite beers they've ever done. And Red X is just the Imperial
Galloping
version.
Ghost is not Imperial and a bit less
Yeah.
hopped, I think.
Well, I love the hops. Great flavor profile. I love that you get that red kind of maltiness to it, similar to an Oktoberfest if you don't drink a lot of reds. So you get a little bit of that malty sweetness paired with some excellent Imperial style hops. I fucking love it, and it's strong, so it's been kicking my ass because I haven't been drinking nearly as much lately.
All right, Dan, do a 900. We're gonna go get more beer.
All right, I'm gonna press the correct combinations and do a 900. I'm drinking Black Plague Brewing's in collaboration with Tony Hawk Birdhouse IPA. This is your traditional traditional West Coast IPA could be. Simcoe and Amarillo hops, dry hop with Citra and Centennial. This is about as West Coast as you can get. It's not as overly bitter. The dry hop will allow the brightness and the flavor profile to jump out of these hops a lot more. There is a malt balance to it though. It's one of the better just single hop IPAs. They did a very good job with this. It's something that I wish I could have had a chance to try more of. The can art is pretty fucking dope. It's got the 20 hockey logo next with the bird, man.
That's awesome.
I fucking love that.
Shout out to GF, obviously the only people who know him are us two, but for letting me get a can of this. And shout out to Birdhouse for putting together one of the just better basic IPAs, which I'll be missed nowadays because everything's fucking adjunct heavy.
Not enough breweries these days are doing really well done basic shit anymore.
No, everybody's relying a shitload on adjunct, so it's kind of refreshing when you see good
coffee.
Either adjuncts or like really complicated brewing. Like
it's not even that it's complicated anymore. They're just throwing a bunch of shit in.
I'm talking about like oh yeah, this one's triple dry hopped.
Oh, sure.
Like every single fucking thing is triple dry hopped or whatever, and it's just like why? Just make a good fucking IPA.
Yeah, well, and I get it, but yeah, you triple dry hop it because you want to bring aromas and stuff out of that beer or out of those hops, but you're just throwing a bunch of shit in there and hoping it tastes good.
And like you're trying to create a beer. Like I'm gonna make a strawberry cheesecake beer, and 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Did you throw cheese? Did you throw cheesesteak out there as an adjunct?
Cheesecake. So
no, I thought
on last week.
Yeah, I know that. I thought when you were running down, you're like coffee, vanilla, cheesesteak. Like
I did cheesecake.
What is this, Philly?
Cheesesteak might be next. You never know. I'll throw some fucking meat in there.
I need more meat in my beer.
Speaking of complicated brewing techniques and adjuncts, I'm drinking a feeder, whatever, fermented sour peach saison ale, which I say, yeah. Anyway, so yeast definitely makes this super sour, super tart. That's and bacteria is what does that. So it's very sour, very tart. Nose is kind of reminiscent of peach cobbler. It has a great nose on it, but very sour, very tart, very lip puckering. Peach is almost drowned out by how sour this one is. It's almost like if you ate a sour peach ring, but not in the same way that Little Beaver's sour peach ring is, which I realize makes no sense if you haven't had that beer. But
well, speaking of which, I just cracked open a Little Beaver.
Nice.
Oh, Little Witty. They're Belgian.
Mm-hmm. Hell, let's do it again.
Are you familiar with the footer with the 40 year?
No.
It's when they take reminiscence of the beer and they age it on the actual they just keep taking parts of the beer and age it on itself.
So it's a sour mash.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. So that would explain why this is a little overly sour, because if they're aging it on itself, you have that lactobacilli or something that makes it actually sour, because lactic acid's what does that. And so that explains why that built up. All right, now that we've done that, we gotta
we're all thrown off.
Oh, I'm not throwing off. This is purposeful. Hey, Nick, what are you drinking?
Second beer is Little Witty by Little Beaver Brewing Company out of Bloomington, Illinois.
Dan, what are you drinking?
I have just grabbed Flying Dogs Cream Team. It's a cookies and cream milk stout.
That sounds phenomenal. I've got great. Triptych's Red X. It's a West Coast inspired Imperial IPA.
I was going to say this might be our first 6-beer episode, and then Hopper does a double repeat of what I just drank.
Well,
yeah. I mean, not counting live shows, because I think we had 20 beers on the live.
It's the only thing I have a 4-pack of, and anyway, it's the only thing I have had a 4-pack multiples of, Actually, it's not, but I've got plans for the other two things. All right, 2018 draft class. Go ahead and get into that now that we're nice and lit here at Beer Field. We'll start with the quarterbacks. So we got
That's what kids would say.
yeah.
We're lit, fam.
So we got some locked-in starters first off to talk about. Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Rank them. We did this exercise before.
Oh my God, why?
A couple weeks back.
Nick, you're starting us off because me and Hoppers are. I mean, I won't say that they're different, but they're different.
No, they're
Allen 1, Mayfield 2A, Jackson 2B.
Oh, damn.
So he's with me, and Allen's the top quarterback.
Yeah, no question.
They're both tied. Both Jackson or Allen are tied. They just had different seasons at different, like the same season at different times. 1A, 1B, and then Mayfield's yet to prove that he can. He's got to have one more consistent year, and he'll
terms
get that
of
contract extension.
Prospects in what I think they're going to do in the league long term, give me the guy who passes better than the guy who runs better.
I agree.
So Mayfield, because that's prospects. Allen was pretty.
No. I'm saying as their prospects going forward from now.
Okay.
Not as their prospects. I'm
Sure.
Allen, Jackson, Mayfield, and I'm not. And that's from a pure fantasy perspective. I agree. Long term in the league prospect, it probably flip flops. We saw Jackson not be nearly as dynamic this year, and he's going to have to prove beyond this point of time to lock in clearly ahead of Mayfield that he can adjust to that, and we really need to see him improve as a passer when they take away the Ravens' ability to run the football. Part of that could be the talent around him. I mean, he's not like swimming in wide receiver talent. Mark Andrews is, I think, easily his best option.
That's not good.
Right. So
And Andrews is good. He's just not.
He's not fucking Kittle or Kelsey. He can't make
He's
Andrews
not.
number
He's
one.
not a top 3 tight end type.
They need an alpha receiver to land in Baltimore. The
Yeah.
way that Diggs did with Buffalo. That's what they need right now.
Andrews needs to be a second option. He's really. I don't think he's fit to be a first option like they tried to use him as this year.
you building around all three of these guys in Dynasty. Even if you're in a rebuild, they're still at a position to me that I think you build around them.
Oh yeah. And honestly,
Maybe not Mayfield, but definitely Jackson and Allen for sure.
no, I'd say Mayfield. You go after him in a dynasty league just for the cost because he's going to be so much cheaper.
True.
Call.
And
I mean, he does. I mean, yeah.
If
Like,
he's,
I think he'll get his extension. I think he'll be fine. But
they just need to get him another
You
receiver
know.
because I think Odell's gone. But I think Landry, another receiver, Hooper,
well,
Hunt, and Chubb. You've got a good offense.
and it could be DPJ who put together a decent rookie year and had some flashes.
yeah, he
also
might
played
get
for Michigan, which was fucking horrible in college. So
maybe you don't have to go get a top tier guy. Just somebody else to pair with Landry and DPJ.
Yeah, and keep Higgins there. You're good at running back. You've got two good tight ends. So, and you've
Solid offensive line.
good, solid offensive line. Defense could stand to improve a little bit, but there's good pieces there. So, yep.
and they will as they get healthy. I mean, I'm not saying that Mayfield's not. I'm just saying we know that Jackson and Allen are going to get their extensions, and they're going to be, they should be top 5. They should always be in conversation for the QB2 behind Mahomes. You guys agree with that at least?
Yeah. All right, Sam Darnold. A little bit more controversial on what you do there. The Jets have come out and said, we still see potential in Darnold. He was saddled with Adam Gase. Hasn't had a lot of consistency. Dealt with mono. Dealt with injuries. Not a great team around him. A guy that is still young enough and talented enough to string together, a decent career, but, obviously on the ropes with something to prove.
If you don't need to win in 2021, buy Sam Darnold. 100%. He's going to be dirt cheap right now. Honestly, wait till the draft too. But buy him for dirt cheap because I think another quarterback, either via trade or draft, is landing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So
He's definitely
buy
low
him
cost.
and hope he lands somewhere else under a different coaching system and bounces. But I think he's a great dirt cheap super flex or single QB buy if
He'll
you're
be a
not trying
good.
to win.
He'll be a really good reclamation project given the situations he was handled and the talent that he handed and the talent that he has.
Yeah, terrible offensive system. I hate Gase so goddamn much. Almost every player who has left him has immediately improved.
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous how many players have immediately bounced back when they were no longer under Adam Gase.
Subject
and
Cutler.
then he's a guy, different situation. He was in the back end of his career. I'm talking about like the young guys who like were viewed as busts.
Yeah.
Immediately go somewhere else and they're much better.
Or just get a different coach where they're at. Devontae Parker, Kenyon Drake, Ryan Tannehill.
Well, Gase left them.
Yeah.
in a few of those cases. But basically, anyone who Gase leaves seems to do better. He shouldn't be too expensive, especially if he's not a contender. Go pick him up.
Has anybody told Gase's wife that?
He's probably a very nice man at home.
If she hasn't realized that yet, that's on her.
Maybe she's the problem. Maybe Gase is actually a genius and she's just holding him back.
She's so goddamn distracting. She holds him back.
I don't know, because you can't explain else of why he's still in the league. Like
Peyton Manning.
He must have some. Yeah. He must have something on these guys.
He's gonna go be the OC. Who just lost an OC that they need to fill? Is there any OC positions left?
He's rumored to go to Minnesota. There's been rumors of him going to Minnesota, and it just hurts my heart to see that.
If you had Urban Meyer at Jacksonville and Adam Gase at Minnesota, I would cry.
Yeah, I didn't like the Meyer hire either. Anything else on Darnold?
No,
just don't overpay for Darnold.
No, don't overpay for him, but absolutely go knock on that door and see if you can get him for
still
cheap.
Plenty of upside there.
Throw out a third-round pick, super flex. See if you can get
It's probably a second
in
in a super flex, third or fourth in a single QB.
I wouldn't even trade for him in a single QB because he'll be dropped.
If I'm not trying to win, yes, I would.
I wouldn't even. Yeah, just wait till he's dropped.
Give your last round pick, stash him, see if something happens.
Sure. All right. Backups: Mason Rudolph, Logan Woodside. Anything on them? Rudolph. I mean, he may compete.
I didn't even realize Logan Woodside was still in the league.
Yeah, I went to the XFL. I know he's a backup for Tennessee. I'm pretty sure he's Tannehill's backup.
He is Tannehill's backup.
Well, I pray Tannehill never gets hurt because I hated Logan Woodside.
Is Rudolph the backup in Pittsburgh now?
I love Logan Woodside.
Carson Haskins.
Well, yeah. If they're going to compete when Ben leaves town. So there you go. You're not running out to get either of these two. Definitely not Logan Woodside. If you have Rudolph, I guess you can hold him and see what happens with the Ben situation throughout the offseason. If Ben's not back in Pittsburgh for some reason, it's possible Rudolph catches some hype and you get a sell window.
I mean, yeah, he's a deep super flex hold. If you're in even a light super flex, he's not even worth holding.
Yeah. Bust Josh Rosen. Nothing. Anything?
I mean,
done.
He's at least with Shanahan now, but God, if you're on your third or fourth stop already, that's really, really bad.
Well, and he is Jimmy Garoppolo, so more or less. Other names to just kind of laugh at a little bit. Danny Etling, the future of New England.
Oh my God,
he's
the fact that he never got in over just broken Cam Newton too just tells you everything.
Well, Etling isn't there anymore. He's
gone.
It was
Stidham.
Stidham. Etling got replaced for Stidham. Yeah. Statue Mike White, who never got a fair shake, although wouldn't survive.
I think I've seen enough in the last few years in the NFL too. Like, that player doesn't exist anymore.
No, they don't. And unfortunately, he was behind his times. If he had been 10 years ago, I think he's a starter because he had the arm talent. He's just
if he was drafted in 1990, he's an all-pro.
Yeah, he just could not move for shit. Kyle Lauletta, remember when he was going to start for the Giants? Might be better than Daniel Jones, but everybody's favorite sleeper.
He still might be better than Daniel Jones. You never know.
Jones can at least run when he doesn't trip over his own goddamn feet.
Jones is fucking dumb.
Yeah. And Tanner Lee, everybody's favorite, doesn't know where the hell it's going. Yeah.
He was so goddamn terrible. He he still might have been the worst quarterback tape I ever watched in those
Such
2 years.
Yeah, such a great arm. Had no fucking clue where that ball was going. Not a damn one. It could have ended up in the third row. Could have been with Marv, the hot dog vendor. It might have found Stanley Morgan somewhere. You just never knew.
But the fact that he got drafted still makes me believe I could be a better GM than some people.
Well, it's Jacksonville that drafted him.
I know.
If you have a big arm, you're gonna get drafted. They say, "Oh my god, you can throw far."
There are some people you can't fix. He was one of them.
Yes, he was.
Thank God.
All right.
Fucking
just for fun, where did
I have some issues with your note on the top row here.
Yeah. Some of these players don't belong in the same category as some of these.
Yeah, specifically the fourth one with the first three.
Well, contributors. I didn't say studs. I didn't say.
How is Barkley not a stud?
Because I
And
didn't.
Chubb. Seriously, Chubb.
Chubb might be a bigger stud than Barkley right now. Barkley had one great year, one Met year, and has been freaking hurt.
Yeah, and Chubb's been a goddamn stud since Hyde left.
Yeah,
Fucking Giants. He is a stud.
that's why I didn't give a stud tier because
I
he's
I
still
think
got
Chubb
Chubb
and
there too.
Barkley, based on potential alone, are your stud tier.
Okay, let's talk about the stud tier then. Saquon Barkley and you know what? You don't like the script, you come back and fucking make them.
Earn your spot, Nick. Earn your spot.
All right,
I did all the Sunday episodes to the back half of the
You
season.
did 3 or 4 of them.
It was more than that.
It was more than that. Yeah, I quite honestly he contributed more to this than you did. Saquon Barkley and Nick Chubb. Go.
Right.
Discuss. What do you do?
I still love the potential of Barkley. If the owner wants out for any reason, get in there. He is still the best prospect I ever watched, hands down. And you guys may still think he's the best prospect you've ever watched.
Yeah, no, I do. I haven't watched a ton of this year's running backs, but I mean, there's nothing else and I don't know from what I've seen out of them watching their actual, the college football I do catch that there's going to be anybody even close this year, the next 2 years. And there definitely hasn't been in any of the 4 years that we've done this. Let's come close.
Yeah. So still 100% in on him. He's had some bad luck. He's been on a poorly run organization, but I still trust the talent enough that for some reason the owner wants out, go get him.
I mean, the offense is built around him. Like the difference between Chubb and Barkley is, Chubb's offense is built to feature the run. It's not built around Nick Chubb. The Giants are building their entire offense around Saquon Barkley. They spent high draft capital on the offensive line to make sure that they have a strong offensive line to keep featuring Barkley.
And I think that
I understand Hopper's point though, because he's coming off of an injury. He's going into his third year.
Well,
and as we keep talking about running backs,
2 years, 2 years worth of injuries because he had the high ankle sprain. He has the ACL this year, but he had the high ankle sprain last year that pretty much zapped the back half of his season. I
get if you want to move him. I am firmly on the first year contract running backs because very few get a second contract that's worth a damn and on offenses that are built to feature them. So I mean, Barkley meets that criteria outside of the second contract, but which I think he'll still get.
Yeah,
it's also the fucking Giants. So
my concerns with him is not the second contract. He's going to get that. It's the organization around him is been so terribly run.
Well, Gettleman's gone, so it's just a matter of what do. You need a quarterback because Daniel Jones ain't it. You need.
I don't think they go out and do a quarterback change right now. I think there are things they can do to improve the situation though, because the receivers are trash outside of Shepard.
Also, a very strong receiving class.
Very strong. Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Is you need a wide receiver. And I think you have a coach that does want to play old school football and run and play defense. And the defense was definitely there, especially over the back half of the year.
Yeah, it was drawn.
Hey, taking it back to quarterbacks real quick, I pulled up the 2018 rookie list, and I just want to see if there's anybody else that you wanted to talk about. I'm sorry that we didn't get to Nick Shimonik, Quentin Flowers.
Shimonik.
He played behind Patrick Mahomes, though. And he's got nice hair.
He, I think, ended up with. Didn't he get drafted by Atlanta? I thought.
No, that
or,
was
that was
no.
Binkert.
Chargers. He went to the Chargers.
No, my guy went to Atlanta. What was his goddamn name?
We've got. Hold on, I'll keep going. Quentin Flowers, Luke Falk, Chase Litton, Kurt.
Ben Kurt with
Binkert.
the Falcons.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got the freaking. I've got the damn
From
team.
Virginia.
I got the damn team right next to him on the spreadsheet. Riley Ferguson, Brandon Silvers is actually the worst quarterback tape I've ever watched. It was even worse than Tanner Lee because he also didn't know where the ball was going, but he had no arm talent. He played in the
even
XFL,
better.
by the way, and was a third stringer there. So, all right,
Throwing ducks when you don't know where the ball's going is perfect.
Nick Chubb, by the way, we just got done talking about Barkley. So Chubb, kind of same situation, Dan. What do you do with him if you're not trusting running backs after their first contract?
So the problem with Chubb is or I won't say problem is, so Hunt's contract is expiring next year. On with Chubb's after next year. It's going to give Cleveland the opportunity to figure out if they want to bring back Chubb and hopefully not back Hunt. And then you have this conundrum of Chubb's not a great pass catcher. And
I do not agree with that statement.
watch the game against the Chiefs. He was fucking horrible.
He dropped 3.
Yeah, he dropped 2 back-to-back, like, in his hands. Chubb's an adequate pass catcher. He is nowhere near, he's good enough to be like a Fournette level if he gets the target volume, but you're not building your passing game featuring him the way that you would with like Kamara or CMC or even Dalvin Cook.
I mean, you are talking about some of the best pass catching running backs in the league.
Yeah, but it's also fantasy though, where you need to have at least like you want to be able to meet that like 50, 60 target threshold. And if it's not going to be Hunt, what if they bring in somebody else just to catch passes and you take away his ceiling?
I don't know that it matters. I don't know that it matters. And
so he needs to be Derrick Henry levels, which he's a very. I'm not. This isn't about his talent.
It's Derrick Henry light.
Value moving forward.
It's Derrick Henry light is what it is, to where he's so good on the ground he doesn't need it to be a back end RB1. We had him
in
and
Henry's touches. He would be up there with Henry.
He would be, but he doesn't get Henry's touches. But he still manages to be a back end running back 1. Remember, he was in the same tier for a lot of people as Josh Jacobs going into the season. One of them lived up to that, the other one didn't. So
and the one who did missed 4 games.
Yeah, and then through attrition ahead of him, he's going to be a top 6 back next year.
A lot of games. Yeah,
Chubb's going to be a top 6 back through attrition.
I don't dislike Nick Chubb.
Yeah,
we're talking value, and
I mean,
how you want to value moving forward is if he's a low in RB1, you're not going to if you can get top 5 running back value for him.
You can't though. I've seen top 10 lists where he's not even on it.
And who's ahead of him?
That blows my mind.
I mean, who's ahead of him when you look at the running back landscape? It can't be that many people.
I mean, you'll see people put guys like Jacobs, Jones, stuff like that ahead of him.
Not right now. He doesn't have a team.
Jones is Nick Chubb with more touchdowns.
Jones is a better pass catcher and a slightly worse runner.
That through 2 coaching staffs cannot command a full workload, like a full consistent throughout workload. And for some reason, Jamal Williams, who we all can agree fucking sucks.
Well, Jones is going to change teams, I bet.
Williams doesn't suck. He's just okay.
He's a good NFL player, not a good fantasy asset.
Yeah.
He is a solid RB2 on almost any team.
But
you still shouldn't be, taking touches away.
Well, Aaron Jones might be going someplace where that's not going to happen.
Jones is overrated then too, right? Then
no,
if he's losing the touches to just a Jag and Jamal Williams, and he's not going to get re-signed by Green Bay, which is one of the better landing spots because of touchdown upside.
Well, he's not going to get re-signed because he wants to hit the free agent market and get that big money. He's gotten good offers from Green Bay.
And they have AJ Dillon. They don't need to re-sign him. They can let him walk.
Mr. Thaya. No, I'm fine with him walking. Trust me, that'd be great.
New York Jets starting running back next year, Aaron Jones.
Alongside Justin Fields.
Ronald Jones, Nyheim Hines in the next year.
Jones finally really showed it this year, which I looked back and he was my RB4 in the class. So thanks for finally making me look okay on that after some really rough years.
He was, yeah.
Class
I had him
disappointment.
at 4 as well. So he was ahead of Nick Chubb. Oops, that's because of Sony Michelle.
This whole draft class outside of Barkley and Chubb are disappointing.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a whole lot we have to talk about after Jones and Hines. With Jones, it's a matter of, Fournette's probably going to walk. Does Keyshawn Vaughn, who started to look good towards the end of the season, command a split with Jones? Is it Jones? Is Jones going to be more than just that? Jones to me is Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, younger Kenyon Drake in probably a better situation.
And Nyheim
He's
Hines.
Tevin Coleman. He's like Tevin Coleman. Not a
Fair.
above average pass catcher, but he's good. Like he's good when his first read's there.
Sure. And Nyheim Hines, I think.
Perpetual high RB2 type.
Yeah. And Nyheim Hines, I think, has worked out a good yin to Jonathan Taylor's yang there in Indianapolis. Where
You're hoping
keeping him too.
You're hoping Hines turns into James White.
James White. Yeah, and that's just it. I think Hines is going to have some flex value with some major boom next season.
He's going to piss off so many.
That's exactly what he was this year.
Yeah.
It's going to piss off so many John. But he's going to be hard to trust starting. Like he's a great best ball guy.
Well, and that's yeah. He's a good best ball guy. He's a good guy to have around as the third or fourth running back on your roster if you need to plug somebody in for injury, especially in PPR leagues.
Do you think they cut Wilkins and draft somebody in the mid rounds?
Wilkins
No, I think it's going to be Hines. He's on for 1 year. He was an 18.
He's 1 more year. Yeah, I do. I don't think they. I think they said something about they don't see themselves keeping Jordan Wilkins.
I mean, this is a team that can probably run, JT Hines and then bring in. They can draft a late day 3 guy to be there just to,
and this is
whatever.
a decently deepish running back class. Like, there's not a lot of high end guys, but there's some interesting.
Yeah.
Frank Gore reunion after Wilkins leaves.
Got to get him closer to that rushing back.
Well, we went to Wilkins, so let's just go to this next grouping. Rashad Penny, Kerryon Johnson, Sony Michel, Jordan Wilkins, Kalen Ballage, Ito Smith, Justin Jackson, Darrell Williams, Royce Freeman, Boston Scott. All people that have flashed. Penny lost year due to injuries. Kerryon Johnson had a good season, and then he's been
hurt and replaced.
Though I think he showed enough this year as a blocker and pass catcher that he'll have a job somewhere.
He's going to have a job, and he's going to piss off the starter, and because
he's never going to live up to what he was.
He can't stay healthy, so you can't trust him to carry your workload. So he's there to basically be Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
That's fair. A little bit better version of Jamal Williams, I think.
Yeah, for
sure. We'll see where he lands. If he's still with Detroit without Adrian Peterson, I could definitely see him annoying the DeAndre Swift owner.
The only person in this tier who may win a starting job at some point is Penny.
That's very true, and he's got to stay healthy. So
I know that's a big thing.
He's
the only one I'd look at as a potential buy and stash and see if he wins a job.
Yeah, and he's got to keep a good offensive line in front of him too, because he doesn't. Well, yeah.
Darrell Williams proves that the Chiefs made a mistake in drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They'll somehow become the starter there.
Yeah.
Total joke.
And Kalen Ballage, was a thing for a couple weeks there in Detroit before he ended up back behind Justin Jackson. I mean, this is a bunch of guys. And you look at Penny, Johnson, Michelle, they were typically the ones and Ballage. Ballage is up there too because he had one big game. These are the guys that people are looking at is, some of those mid-round picks in this class that could potentially jump up. Kerryon Johnson, I think, could definitely annoy, especially because they're going to be running the ball 900 times, the DeAndre Swift owner. They could both. Well,
to
yeah.
annoy the James Robinson owners.
That's it. Rashad Penny, I agree with Nick. Sony Michel, Damian Harris.
Harris has looked better, and it's still fucking New England.
Yeah, and Michelle, other than a relatively solid rookie season, has dealt with injuries and just pure ineffectiveness. He's had chances to grab that job and hasn't been able to.
He's not
even
he's not
even
even
his
a player than what he was coming out of Georgia. Like his body is just completely shut down on him.
and even his rookie year was relatively inefficient. It just
Yeah,
wasn't
he's got
enough
one.
volume.
He wasn't that good coming out of Georgia either.
I know I made that mistake. It's okay.
He was
It was
my
a terrible first round pick.
He was my RB8.
I wanted high on Ronald Jones. It's okay too.
We roasted them for the Penny pick. Michelle was just as bad looking back.
Michelle was worse because
It
at least
was.
with Penny, he at least looks efficient when he's healthy.
Yeah.
It's just it was a bad pick. Like both picks are fucking terrible. It's just that I think Michelle's gets more highlight because
The fact that both went over Chubb is a goddamn travesty.
Yep, it is. I hate Kalen Ballage. We're not going to spend a lot of time on him. Ito Smith fell behind Brian Hill this year. Justin Jackson has looked good when he's gotten the opportunity and been healthy.
Unfortunately, just Eckler blocks him.
Yeah, 7th round pick, so he'll still have his chances. Not a lot of trade value. Another guy that could be useful to just have on a roster, though. In the event of Eckler injury or, because it's not Joshua Kelly. Darrell Williams.
You nailed that the talent was there. Just the ceiling, unfortunately, was never that high.
Yeah.
We like to say it's just we knew that he wasn't going to be anything, super special.
Well,
he's a guy that I think if he wins opportunity chances, he could be an RB2 for a season.
Yeah, it's just he's got to have the opportunity, and he didn't have the draft capital to get that locked-in opportunity. He's had to kind of fall into it a couple of times. Darrell Williams, another guy exactly like that. He was good, but draft capital wasn't there, and then he ended up with Le'Veon Bell.
He's on the right offense, so
Edwards-Helaire in front of him, and then you've got Damian Williams coming back next season, so we'll have to wait and see.
Williams is 100% cut.
Darrell?
Which one?
Or Damian? Damian? I think so, too.
They need the cap space, and he's one of the few cuts they've got.
Royce Freeman, that was a disappointment.
Yeah, we all liked him, but it wasn't there.
We were all wrong on him. Boston.
It happens.
Yep. Boston Scott. Nah.
He had that amazing end to 19, but other than that, he's been pretty meh.
Idiot tier Darius Geis.
Fuck guys. God damn it. Fuck guys.
And
I liked him so much, man.
A few times he was healthy, he looked so good, and then he'd immediately get hurt, and then screwed himself with off-field shit. It just
the thing, guys, that we can't scout idiots. Like we can't see him being an idiot. It's not like we can be like, guys, you can tell by the way he runs, he's gonna go.
He's a moron.
Like,
well,
you don't know that.
And this is the part that I kind of drives me the craziest is if he had stayed healthy, he was talented enough, he might have been able to override how dumb he was off field.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And he still may get a chance to do it. So
yeah, because the Chargers got dropped. Right?
Yeah.
If he stays out of did he get dropped?
Yeah, the other day.
That means I hate to say it, but
he's gonna land somewhere with a chance.
He's going to. And we've seen plentiful of running backs, get opportunity posts of these indictments on
Kareem
Hunt, Adrian Peterson,
Tyreek Hill, not a running back, but same type of thing.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill,
Joe Mixon,
defensive players. Yeah, Joe Mixon.
So it's just it's a thing to where I think that if you can throw peanuts at a Darius Geis trade right now, he's probably gonna get a camp shot somewhere,
and he'll start at some point if he keeps his head on his shoulders.
Yeah,
and hopefully he's still a piece of shit.
All right. The other names here. Mark Walton. Speaking of idiots.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
He ran himself off of an opportunity.
He wasn't even.
John Kelly, breaking everybody's heart.
We liked him so much.
We did, and there was just I don't know what he
ran a 4.740. That's what happened to him.
Yeah.
He ran a 4.740.
Yep. Chase Edmonds, who kind of fell completely off the radar in Arizona after splitting time with Drake.
That's what you get for fucking with the fantasy community.
Yep. Larry Rose III never amounted to anything. Bo Scarborough had a decent run in Detroit there for a minute. Wadley never was anything Jalen Samuels. We were right, damn right about that one.
We were.
Josh Adams had that one good season in Philly. That was it.
Yeah,
That one
he
big
made
stretch.
he made us look like idiots until he proved us right.
It was like for like a game or two. He was like,
yeah.
I wouldn't even like. No, we weren't idiots. We were so right, even when we were wrong. We were so right.
I was worried for a bit. but
I was
then it
too.
turns out
I
we were
was
right.
not. Nope.
Ryan Nall, bane of my existence. Actually, not
Yeah.
quite, but he had the chance this year to show something with the injury to Cohen and nobody really behind Montgomery, and it just
Turns out
didn't
all you have is
happen.
Montgomery.
Yep. Jarvion Franklin is a name I don't even remember.
I don't
Cameron
either.
Petway. I remember liking Petway. The first time I watched
from
it.
Auburn,
Yeah, the big back, the fullback
last guy who, yeah,
that
big
ran
back.
like a 4.8.
Yeah.
But
he
just
was an old school fullback.
absolutely
Old school.
straight bowled people over. If he had been 20, talking about Mike White. If Mike White and Cameron Petaway had been drafted in the early 90s, you got a fucking Super Bowl team.
Got away from the 80s. He was supposed to be the next Mike Allstott, except slower.
Rock Thomas, Demario Rashad, Richard, Chris Warren the third.
Brock Thomas couldn't stay out of legal trouble.
And Chris Warren just
Hurt and
wasn't
done.
it.
Travis was real wrong on that one.
Yeah, he was.
All right, let's move on to receivers.
Yep, on to receivers. DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton, Calvin Ridley. Your guys that are kind of locked into roles. DJ Moore, de facto one in Carolina. Cortland
Go
Sutton. What?
I said go buy more.
Yeah.
So,
Same thing with Sutton coming off of an injury-riddled season because Jerry Jeudy didn't do anything to threaten his wide receiver one status.
Nope. Judy looks like a 2 right now.
Yep. So you go
shocking.
grab Cortland Sutton. And Calvin Ridley has shown enough over the last couple of years to when Julio does retire. I could see him taking over as a 1, but he's also on that offense just a really high wide receiver 2 that has back end 1 type of ability.
He's
I
a
think
top 5 receiver this year.
Yeah.
He finished as a 1, didn't he?
He
He
did.
finished as wide receiver 5.
Wide receiver
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
So Calvin Ridley, you're not going to buy at any form of value, and I don't think you sell him either. I think that actually is his value, but Moore and Sutton are both buys.
Yeah, Ridley was a guy I was definitely wrong on. He's overperformed what I
I mean,
expected.
it was the perfect landing spot, right? Like I don't think he's a team's alpha receiver, but he landed with one high volume offense.
But this year, with Julio out many games, he still performed.
Yeah, he did.
I think he is an alpha at this point.
How much? Okay, Bob. Is Matt Ryan going to be back there next year?
Don't know.
Yes.
A different kind of offense. Again, wide receiver 5. If I can get the top 5 receiver value, I would trade Ridley for that.
Well,
I
and
think he's reached his peak. I think this is his peak, in my opinion.
it could be, but it also could be his peak for the next, 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, if he's a mid to low wide receiver 1 for a while, that's
Would you move him for AJ Brown? Would you trade him for AJ Brown? I don't know about trade
yeah,
Yeah.
I would.
because most people have Ridley above Brown. That's why I asked that.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
no, I don't have Ridley above Brown. Brown is much more of an athletic specimen with much higher ceiling.
That's where I'm at. Is that Ridley has the stands, as we saw this year. I mean, and I'm
Brown's
taking no credit away from what Ridley did.
Brown's in contention for my wide receiver 1 right now.
Ridley's Allen Robinson.
Not the same type of dude in terms of how they play, but I see it.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying though, right? In terms of where they position fantasy wise, as far as upside and career arc and stuff.
Yeah, kind of a mid to low wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 seasons in there.
But consistent at it, as long as the situation's good.
The type of dude you love to have on your fantasy dynasty team for a long time.
Yes.
Matt Ryan threw the ball 626 times.
Okay. Well, until they get a running back, I'm not concerned about that changing.
Yeah, if they bring in another
Defense gets
4,
better. I'm just spinning the narrative that
What, you running Brian Hill 230 times?
don't Najee Harris will land here. Or somebody else. They'll spend some day 2 on capital on the running back. Aaron Jones could land here for all we fucking know.
I own Ridley in a dynasty league, and I got 0 offers that were anywhere close to a top 6-7 type player ever.
It's because he got cast typed as the slot receiver, wide receiver too during that draft process, and it's take lock is what it is.
Yeah, so I'll hold.
Yeah. All right, next here, guys that have roles that may be a little bit blurred. DJ Chark's the debatable one here, but I think with Laviska Shenault and the quarterback situation that, Chark being an alpha, we might have oversold that in year one or coming into year two.
You mean year 3?
Year 3, sorry. I think we might have sold that going year 2 to year 3 because what he did in year 2 with Gardner Minshew was so good. We anticipated him taking the next step, and that offense as a whole regressed. And then you bring in Shenault, who's another guy that has wide receiver 1 type talent. I don't think DJ Chark is such a lock for that 1 role. He does have a role. He'll be a top 2 there, but I don't think it's a lock that he's the alpha.
He's going to be the guy that gets overhyped. He will be the number 1 sleeper, bounce back, breakout guy on everyone's lists when they draft Trevor Lawrence. I agree with you that Shenault has that ability. He's A.J. Brown, but more of a running back style of him because they're built essentially the same. Mm-hmm. But Chark is still a massive deep threat, and you pair him with an elite quarterback and with still a defense that still needs to get better. Like he could be like he's in for a good year, but I think his value is going to eventually peak.
Chark is a sell for me, hands down.
Oh yeah, you should have gotten out on Chark before last year, I think.
But... Well, no, I'm saying now with them drafting Lawrence.
Yes,
100%.
Wait till they draft Lawrence and see, because I still think his value probably won't peak until we get.
Yeah, he's going to be a slow roll type guy. As you get closer to your rookie draft, when people are all freaking out about Lawrence going to Jacksonville,
about July,
sell him. Yeah. He's not the type of player I want to own either.
No, he's not. He didn't profile as a 1 for me coming out.
He doesn't profile as a 1, and he's a boom bust big play type guy he's the type of player I generally don't want to own, even if they end up with good stat lines at the end of the year.
Yeah. Guy that isn't that to me is Michael Gallup, and we got to see what the Cowboys do with Dak. They have an out on Amari Cooper. So
can they please trade Gallup? Can they please trade Gallup?
Wait till just get rid of Cooper. You want Gallup
or that.
Alex with Cooper.
Sorry, I was wrong. The out on Cooper is after this upcoming season, but still, all 3 of them with Dak Prescott in that offense were performing at a level where you could have them, and then they've got an out on Cooper with Lamb and Gallup still under contract to where, well, no, Gallup's a free agent after next season.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Trade Gallup. I want him to be able to use him next year.
Fair. The reason he's in this tier is, again, all 3 of them were very good when Dak was healthy, especially with the defense being very, very bad and Zeke being very, very bad. It's just a matter of that you've got 3 guys that have the potential to be 1A, 1B, 1C, and it varies with him and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper there. Like, the Cowboys have an awesome set of receivers.
And this is on top of Zeke taking his touches. They have tight ends they throw the ball to. The talent does not match the production because of the situation right now.
You trade for Michael Gallup and you hope that either he moves on to a new team that can use him as a starter right away, or that that Dallas, because they can't afford, if they pay Dak, they can't afford to probably keep Cooper. I can see Cooper being cut to save cap room to sign other players, allowing Gallup, who's going to cost significantly less than Cooper, on this same offense that won't change next year.
So
I'll get Gallup now when he's this cheap.
I don't know.
Buy next year.
You have 0 cap savings.
You save 14 mil after 2021, Cooper.
Yeah, but so you have 0 cap savings going into this year on Cooper. If you cut him in 2020, if you cut him between 2020 and 2021, you don't gain anything.
No. Like he won't be cut this year.
Right.
So what you have to do is you pay Dak, but you give him nothing this year, basically, and then you backload the whole thing, and then you cut Cooper after this year.
Yes. That's exactly what you have to do, and it's okay. It's kind of okay to backload a quarterback. He's not a running back. Running backs you probably front load them. All depends on your cap situation too. Outside of that, Christian Kirk, another guy, kind of a different situation where you got more of a one read and run type quarterback in Kyler Murray there, to where Christian Kirk again, he's got some value, some upside. Fitzgerald's retiring, which should open up some, or expected to, I think.
Yeah, it's not confirmed.
Yeah. Fitzgerald's expected to retire, which could open up some target volume there. But with Hopkins there, he's not going to be the one. He's locked in as the 2.
I think Christian Kirk is potentially this past season's Calvin Ridley.
Just depends.
Murray, yeah.
Murray's got to progress.
It's if you can bounce back from the shoulder injury, which I obviously expect him to do, in this offense with year 2 in a full off season of which shouldn't be hindered by COVID too much.
Yeah,
I think Kirk's going to be one of the bigger buys, at least value picks in redrafting guys that you should be going out there and targeting for cheap and dynasty.
Yeah, Washington, Lazard, MVS.
I'm so pissed we didn't trust our eyes on Lazard.
No, I am too.
Fucking right, and we bailed.
I didn't ever stop really hyping Alan Lazard or rooting for Alan Lazard, but yeah, I bailed on and I look at this draft class and I think this is the year where I learned not to give in to what consensus was, because I looked at how I ranked people versus how I remember perceiving them. And I adjusted so much to match consensus, but damn, were we right on Lazard.
Yep. Yeah, and I remember we weren't high on Washington, I don't think.
No, we weren't.
No, we weren't.
He's kind of turned into what I expected.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson is a much better player than he is.
If he can get the hands figured out.
MVS is just benefiting from being on such a good offense and being a very good deep threat, but I don't think he's that great a player.
Lazard's developed into the 2 there, and it took him 3 teams to get there. Because
it did.
Yeah, he was originally in Jacksonville.
Yep.
You have to survive another offseason of hopefully avoiding Green Bay drafting anybody with significant capital there too.
Given giving the emergence of Tunyon, what Scantling did as a deep threat, and what Lazard was able to do consistently when healthy, I don't know that people are going to be pounding the table as hard for them to spend high draft capital. They should bring somebody in, but I don't know that it needs to be as high a draft capital as people wanted last year.
Probably not.
They need to do more to address the pass rush in Green Bay early in the draft.
I agree with that. And linebackers. Their linebackers are fucking garbage.
Yes, they are.
Probably reinforce the offensive line because they've invested a lot there.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that they can hold it all.
No, I don't either. I know they just signed Bakhtiari to a huge extension, but it's Billy Turner and some of the other guys on that line that you worry about. You're not going to be able to re-sign them, so you need to get some depth in that pipeline. And last year's draft, if you go back and look at their picks, was just absolutely dog shit for them. So,
yep.
Dylan may work out better than I expected, but the rest are pretty shit.
Dylan, I think, was the only one that had any form of snaps for them in the playoffs, was the stat I saw. There was a linebacker that took like 17, and other than that, it was A.J. Dillon and nobody else from that draft class.
It was Martin, right?
Second round pick should not be getting used until the NFC Championship game. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense, Green Bay.
Your first round pick wasn't even active for 90% of the season.
He shouldn't have even been a first round pick because he's fucking terrible.
Yep.
That too.
All right, some painful things for us. Anthony Miller.
That hurts.
Yeah, that one hurts. I don't know that I think the rest do, but that one does.
Traquan Smith hurts a little bit for Dan, I think.
Justin Watson. Okay, yeah, he hurts.
Dante Pettis hurts for me. St. Brown, I know, hurts for Dan.
Oh, Pettis, yeah, that's another one. That hurts.
I came off St. Brown as soon as the draft capital was there.
Yeah, and the stories came out. Miller's the one that I think universally hurts for all of us.
That's probably true.
Saddled in Chicago a little bit. Look, these are all guys, Miller, Traquan Smith specifically. Dante Pettis, I think, landed in New York. But Miller, Traquan Smith especially are guys that, we still I wouldn't be surprised for later career breakouts if you're targeting somebody as the throw-in piece, but they don't really have a ton of value as on their own right now.
I mean, are you in a 16-team start four wide receiver league?
Well, you still have to fill out a bench in a lot of those, right? And a lot of dynasty leagues are deep bench, so.
I mean, you have
saying.
to be so goddamn deep to view those as.
I mean, it depends on the situation with New Orleans, but again, none of these guys hold significant value to them.
Right, and they're also guys you don't really expect to be re-signed either, so it kind of matters where do they go, because you can take a gamble on that as well.
Yep.
QT isn't. It's really just Smith and Miller. But yeah, St. Brown, Pettis hurt, Fountain. Sorry, Miguel.
Nothing.
Watson.
Miguel, yeah.
Sorry, Miguel. Trey Quinn. That one hurt
Sorry.
all of us a little bit.
I fucking love it.
Watson hurt.
What's that?
Watson hurt all of us.
Yeah, Deshaun Hamilton. Bayshon. Had one good game.
Deion Kane, I
Game of
hated,
Thrones.
though.
Until he shit on Game of Thrones.
I had Deion Kane ranked decent. I think Dante Pettis was my highest. No, Anthony Miller was my highest ranked out of that lot.
You love Pettis, though.
I did love Dante
You were all
Pettis.
for the Pettis
And
train,
boy, did I look damn right in his rookie season.
Yeah, I had Miller as my 5 and Pettis as my 6.
Yeah, Miller was my 5 and Pettis was my 7.
I just know that I think pre-draft I had St. Brown over Ridley. So
I had both over Ridley.
I had Ridley in between them.
you weren't really as a show though.
I had a tier. I had Miller in the same tier as Ridley and Kirk, and then I had a tier break with Pettis at the top of the next tier, which was him.
Also, where's Callaway in these painful rankings?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep. Antonio Callaway. He's in the idiot tier. I didn't list that one.
Yeah, he was my wide receiver 11. He was ahead of some of these other names.
Jake Weineke is a guy that I lost. Jake Weineke and Dylan Cantrell, 2 guys I lost my shit over in the pre-draft process.
By the way,
Cantrell.
He's also listed as a tight end now.
Yeah, he's a tight end now. Jake Weineke was the dude at South Dakota State with Dallas Goedert, the big white wide receiver that went to I think Minnesota ended up with him.
As a practice squad, and he never did anything.
And then he never did anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Some.
Oh God, I'm looking at my list.
Marcel Aitman, Richie James, Jaleel Scott, Auden Tate.
You hated Aitman and Tate so goddamn much.
And guess fucking what?
Auden Tate's still in the league.
Aitman ain't.
Tate is fucking garbage.
Auden Tate, not great, though. It took 19 injuries for him to be relevant. Jordan Lasley, that one hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Man, my list was 82 fucking names deep.
30. Well, I'm just looking at wide receivers. I was 37 deep for wide receivers.
36 on wide receivers.
I
had Russell Gage as my wide receiver 30, and he was a starter for some people this year.
Yeah, I was 52 deep. I didn't even have Russell Gage on my list. Corey Robertson, Jester, going top to bottom. Names we haven't talked about, I guess, from my list. Nick, you can fill in anything I don't have. Jamon Moore, the third guy that got drafted by the Packers that we never talked about after that.
He was their second.
And the highest draft capital.
Yeah.
Yeah, the highest draft capital. Yeah. Javon Wims. Don't get me started.
Oh, fuck Javon. Oh.
Quadri Henderson. Braxton Berrios, who actually did some shit with the Jets this year.
Yep, he did. He had a few pop games where everyone else was hurt.
Yeah.
I love number Simi Cobbs.
Yeah, I fucking hate Simi Cobbs. Worst
wide receiver 30.
I had him above MVS.
Worst wide receiver tape I've ever watched. Cedric,
at least
I'm looking at my rankings again.
MVS was at least my wide receiver 23.
He was my 27.
I don't know if I can count that for. Hold on.
Is it an Excel spreadsheet? You probably have numbers over there.
No, I don't have it in Excel. This is before I became smarter with technology.
See, Cedric Wilson, Deontay Burnett. That's it.
Burnett was my last receiver ranked.
I had Burnett at 32. My last receiver ranked was Corey Robertson.
I did not. Oh, I had him as my 31.
MVS was 31.
Chester Way is my other one mentioned that's super low.
Jester Way was 36 for me.
A was my 35.
18, the year we watched way too many fucking players.
Yeah.
We were in too deep.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We're trying to keep.
Let's see. My last running back was Kyle Hicks. I don't even remember that goddamn name.
Rings a bell?
I had him above Richard.
Did you?
Demario Richard.
Oh,
He was not on my list.
Demario. What?
Should we get through tight ends here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We probably should. Otherwise, we're going to go down a damn rabbit hole. This should be
Before
quick.
my bladder explodes here.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mike Gesicki, Hayden Hurst, Mark Andrews, Chris Herndon, Will Disley, Jordan Akins, Troy McGauley, Ian Thomas, Dallas Goddard, Dalton Schultz. Pretty simple here. Mike Gesicki and Mark Andrews probably going to be locked and loaded as starters at the tight end position here for the next couple of years. It's a very
Goddard
thin,
whenever Ertz gets cut.
and Goddard when Ertz gets cut. Very thin position. Ian Thomas, we were hoping for more this year. That did not materialize.
It's
Chris,
still
I don't think he's ever going to do it.
I don't know if he will, but
same thing with
He's
Chris
still-
Herndon.
Herndon needs,
Herndon, I'm a little more excited for with him getting out of Gase's system.
Well, that could be too.
got out of trouble. It doesn't matter who the coach is if he's not fucking
Well,
playing.
he's kept his nose clean this year.
He had a single DUI, which don't do that, but also
Yeah.
it's not bad enough that I'm like bail.
I know.
Bad.
Yeah, and maybe he is. Maybe he is a late breakout. And he looked like he was poised to break out. Maybe it was a system guy. He is a guy you could target cheap, is still having upside. Will Disley, same thing. Guy that showed a ton of upside, and they just brought in Greg Olson.
And injuries have been keeping him down.
And he got hurt.
When he's been on the field, he's been awesome.
Yeah. And Fumagalli looks like he's Noah Fant's back up at this point. So
You mean
Albert
who's the other guy in front of him?
Albert O's back up.
Alberto.
Yeah, he's the number 3.
Hey, still ahead of Jake Butt.
Is he even still in the league?
Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
on the Broncos.
He caught a pass this year or two.
How many tight ends do you need?
Well, when they all keep getting fucking hurt,
The Broncos are like the who's who of tight ends. Hold on. Their depth chart at tight end is pretty goddamn impressive. If you're a
is it longer than the Bears?
No. Well, to be fair, the Bears signed 27 tight ends in the offseason. They
And then
what
drafted one in the second round.
Yeah, and actually Kmet, I think, overperformed.
So I think the only other name worth mentioning on this list is probably Hurst. Do you think he does anything with Atlanta, the new offense?
No. I hate Hayden Hurst. Sorry. That's
I just don't know how much. It depends how much volume is potentially lost if Atlanta does take a step forward.
okay. Listen to this all-star cast of tight ends on the Broncos.
Let's
All
do
right.
it.
I'm
Nope.
going to go to the bathroom when you do that.
Nope. I got to wait for Nick to come back. We're going to keep talking because he needs to be here to appreciate this.
Hold on, we should look. Fine, when the Nick's gone, I'm going to look at a week into the line of the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I
Let's
got-
do that.
I did alternative spread 3.5 Chiefs at even money.
What's the actual spread?
3?
3?
I'm seeing if it's changed or not though. Since then,
I would
I took that bet
take the
pretty early.
Chiefs at 3. I think that especially if the Chiefs can blanket coverage like they did against Buffalo, who also has good wide receivers. They're
I'm just not betting against Mahomes.
yeah. No, you
The
don't.
same thing that I felt last week. You don't bet against Brady and you don't bet against Mahomes. And
I'd bet against Brady before I bet against Mahomes these days.
it's even hard to bet against Brady even in the Super Bowl. Hold on.
Over under.
It's still at -3. So same odds. Over under is 56.5. That's aggressive.
Yeah, I'd probably take the under there. Given how well the Chiefs played defense last week, and
I can see
the
it going
Bucs
over
against the Packers, I'd probably go under.
Yeah, I go under, or maybe live bet it. If they get an early touchdown, maybe try to get the under
Yeah.
when it gets bumped up. 'Cause that's what I did last week with the Bucs. I live bet it when Green Bay tied it and got them at plus 3.5.
I'm under and Chiefs at 3.
Chiefs at 3. I an alternative spread to get even money. I don't like having to give up the half point because I think that could be important.
It could very well could be
because of the touchdown swing from 4 to 3. So it's tough, but
all right. All-star cast of Broncos tight ends: Jake Butt,
oof,
Troy Fumagalli,
butt stuff. 9 fingers.
Nick Vannett,
used to be Hopper's Bay,
and Noah Fant. It's my favorite tight end room.
Should have been better in the absence of Sutton, but I still like him. We'll be better with Drew Lock.
He was banged up too.
He was hurt. The whole offense was pretty rough.
Yeah, Drew Lock too, honestly. All right.
Yeah.
I got nothing else.
Nick, say your farewells. I know it's been 2 hours. You have to go do stuff.
Eat mostly because I've just been drinking beer and having a dinner.
Oh, yeah. We ate pizza before the show.
So did I. We got Antonio's. It's great.
We made a Schnucks pizza, which Schnucks branded self-rising crust pizzas are actually really good.
Good to know.
Hope they're paying us.
Ain't nobody paying us.
Soon.
We'll work on that soon. I have idea. Oh, Dan. No, wait, let's get off the air before we talk about that. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm at Hot BFF with 2 P's, at Theory BFF, at Nick Spartz. We'll be back next week to talk about the rest of the NFL. We'll pull out some highlights, recap. No, we won't because there's not a Pro Bowl. Then we're not going to recap that anyway.
Yep.
So,
fucking God.
Sorry for adding probably 45 minutes to the pod.
No, actually, you probably actually shaved off 25.
Oh, well, good
given what we've been doing. So,
our podcast.
Yeah. We'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Later.
Oh, Murray.
It's like you guys have fucking forgotten how to end a show.
How does that work?
I've also forgotten how to end a show. Can we do that again?
You're driving this fucking ship.
Yeah,
You can do whatever you want.
We don't edit. Thank you guys for tuning in to Beerfield Fantasy Football. I am
We'll catch you guys
next time. See ya.
Bye.
That's the right one. That's what I wanted.
Beer view.